Hey guys, it's Bree. So in today's video, we are going to be discussing my September TBR. I'm very excited for this reading month because I feel like I have some good books on this TBR and hopefully I can get through a good amount of them as well. I am not somebody who does a set TBR. I normally do it for read my oldest books first and then I go into my newest books, but I'm getting so many books into my collection and my TBR that the system's not working for me anymore. So what I have decided to do is, much like a lot of the book talk and booktube people who are following prompts to find their TBR for the months, I decided to do that as well. I wrote down some prompts on here that I would like to follow for each of the ones I'm choosing. Will all these prompts be met for the months? Probably not. Absolutely not, because this is a good amount of prompts. But there are some books that will fit into more than one prompt as well. So it's just a guideline for me to try and pick a good amount of these books, try to whittle down my TBR, because like I said, I'm getting so many books in. I am planning on doing a huge book haul because I don't know what happened to me the past few months, or the past 2 months, not even the past 2 months, the past week. I have made so many Barnes & Nobles and Amazon orders, and they're literally piled up here in the corner because I need to do a haul for y'all guys. So hopefully I'll do that as soon as they come in. But we'll go through the prompts and see what I've written down. So the first prompt I have is to start a new series or finish a series. This won't be that hard because I am somebody who needs to be binge reading fantasy series. Romance series, I am okay with like jumping around, not really binge reading them. Like I'll have one this month, one next month, and stuff like that until I finish that series, because most romance series are standalone series, so I'm okay with that. But when it comes to fantasies, it is, or just like mysteries and stuff like that are in a series with the same characters throughout, or just like the same plot throughout, I need to binge read it because I need to know what happens in there. And that is my toxic trait of buying a full series in one before I read it. But it's something I love, so that won't be that hard. And then finishing a series, so of course a series that is not out in full, ones that I need to finish, etc. And then a book from a book box, so this can be any subscription box that I have been subscribed to. I do have a couple, like 2 more books from when I had done Bookshbox, so that can be one of them, and then my Outcry boxes, of course. And then next are some genres I would like to incorporate into each of my months. So one is historical fiction. I absolutely love historical fiction. There are some people who don't, because people find historical fiction boring. I find it very fascinating. If you find a topic you like, that is a good key, is to find a topic you like and go with that topic, because like I said, a good amount of them can be boring. But if you find something you like to read, I'm somebody who was a very big history buff in high school. I loved history, and I read a lot of different prompts on history, so that's something I enjoy. Also, sorry if my voice sounds weird. I am a little congested right now from all the dust and the wind, so I sound a little bit out of place, so ignore that. Next will be a romance. I at least need to have a romance in my month of reading because I have found myself a romance girl, which is surprising because I love fantasy. Fantasy is one of my favorite things to read, but I've been in a fantasy slump lately, so I've been reading a lot of romance, which no discard for. I've been loving romance, so very excited about that. Also, of course, I need to add a fantasy. Been trying to get back into fantasy. Also, a new book to my collection, so a book that I've recently bought that has come into my TBR. I'm not going to deprive myself. If it's been a book I've been wanting to read for a while, I will read it, even if I just bought it the day before. I want to do that. And then one book that I've had for a long time. I've actually am really good at reading my books whenever I get them in. Most of my books I haven't had for more than a month and a half to 2 years. There shouldn't be any books that are more than that, because like I said, I read majority of them. Actually, I'm lying. There is one, but we don't discuss that until I get a new edition of those. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later on in life, as soon as I get them. But that is literally, none of them are that long into my in my bookshelf, to be honest. And then a book out of my comfort zone. This as well I put on here, even though majority of the books I have are genres, tropes, things that I love to read in general, there's only one book that I can think of, and I'm staring at it right now. I'm actually just going to tell you what it is a thriller. She's Gone by David Bell. This is like the only one I can think of. She's not on my TBR for the month, but that's one of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head that's out of my comfort zone. So I really don't think there's anything else, but I put that on there just in case, because I don't know, sometimes you never know. And then another one is one I've been wanting to read for a while. So like I said, most of my books that come in that I want to read forever but just haven't gone around to. And then one book I've been avoiding, I do have a handful of those, so that will be very, very good to have. And then a popular book series or a popular standalone book. This can be for book talk, booktube. I watch a lot of book talk and booktube, so there are a good amount of these books that have been heavily influenced by them, so that'll be fun. And then lastly, a book I've heard little about. So you have, of course, sorry, let me readjust my leg, so my leg is starting to hurt. Nice. You have your books that are very, very popular, you hear everybody talk about, and then you have your books that nobody talks about. So excuse me, those are the prompts for this month. From there, I have put together a TBR of 6 books. We have our mix of fantasy, and we have our mix of romance. So the first book on here is a series I need to finish, also a book I've been wanting to read for a while, and of course that is Kingdow and the Feared by Kerri Maniscalco. I have been wanting to finish this series for so long, but I just haven't gotten around to it. And like I said, I've been in a fantasy slump, so I have not been wanting to read the fantasy at all. I literally started this book 20 pages in and did not want to continue it. I went into a romance after this because I just didn't want to have to deal with it, even though I really, really want to finish the series. It is a series that a lot of people have mixed opinions about. I actually have been enjoying it so far, even though I will agree that Kingdom of the Curse wasn't the best. I love Kingdom of the Wicked though, and I've heard Kingdom of the Fear is even better. And it took me a while to get this book because this is the Bookish Box exclusive. And if you know anything about Bookish Box, hold on, let me remove this camera just a little bit. There we go. If you know anything about Bookish Box, they take forever to ship out their special editions. Even though they are gorgeous editions, they take forever to come in. And this one took a while to come in, and then after it came in, I just didn't touch it. And it's like I said, but it's been one I've been wanting to read, so I'm hoping to get through that this month. Even if it's the only book I read for the damn month, I will get through it. The next one is one that I have been avoiding because this series, it's not even just a series itself. The universe of the Shadowhunters is crazy. There are so many books. Did I buy all the books? Yes, I bought all the books that you need to read. There are so many opinions on the reading order too that I'm always just confused about. But this is one that has been somewhat confirmed that I need to read next after City of Heaven and Fire, which was the last book I read. And it's been a year since I read a Cassandra book. And that is the Bane Chronicles. By, of course, Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Bryant, and then Maureen Johnson. I love Magnus. Magnus is one of my favorite characters. But like I said, I've been avoiding this because of the reading order. It's very confusing, so I have yet to read it. But I'm very, 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 very excited to get back into the world of the Shadowhunters because I love them so much. I love Magnus. Magnus was one of my favorite characters of all time. So I'm very excited to read this. And also, these are short stories. So if I get through about two to three stories a day, I should be on track to finishing this. Because I also have the Tale from the Shadowhunter Academy. And then I think I can get into the Dark Artifices because I am really, really, really wanting to get into the Dark Artifices. I wanted to try to get into it before the end of this year, but I don't think that's a possibility at this point. But we'll see. You never know. But I must read this. Hopefully I can read that. The next book I have is a book from a book box. So this one is Owl Crate. Yeah, this one's Owl Crate because this was my first Owl Crate box ever. This was the January Owl Crate for this month, and that is the Buried and the Bound by Rochelle Hassan. Excuse me. Hassan. I am very excited for this one. I was going to choose Revel or Divine Rivals, even though everybody's been talking about Divine Rivals and I really want to read it because I love Rebecca Ross. But I'm going to postpone on that because I have so many books that I need to get to before Divine Arrivals. But this is one of them that I was very, very excited to receive and very, very excited to read. This one, I believe, follows... I'm trying to remember. Let me read the synopsis real quick. It follows nymphs. It follows boundaries between fairyland, a curse, teaming up to break such curse and stuff like that. I don't know exactly what I'm going to get into with this book, but I'm very, very excited for it. And a lot of the times when I've gotten books from bookish boxes, a lot of them have become some of my favorites. So we'll see how I feel about this one. The next book I have falls into book I have been avoiding, book I've had for so long, and then a book that I've been wanting to read for a while. And then also, this is going to be my historical fiction for the month. And that is, The Gates of the Alamo by Stephen Harrigan. I am a Texas girly, if you do not know. I am from Texas, born and raised. And the Alamo is one of the topics that they teach you in school. If you're from Texas, I think almost every single city in Texas history is a requirement in school. So, of course, they teach you about the Alamo. I DNF'd this book quite a few years ago, only because I had it in mass market paperback. And mass market, for me, is very hard to read. I don't know what it is about it. It hurts my head when I read it. I don't really enjoy reading a mass market paperback. But the one thing about this book, whenever I got this new edition of it, the font is so small. And like I said, I was about halfway through this book before stopping to read it. So I actually have this book on audio. And that will really, really help me throughout with it. Because I really wanted to finish it. Even though, if you know history, you know how it ends. But I just want to read it in general. Because, of course, I love historical fiction. And also, another rule for the month. I am allowing one audiobook for the month. So out of all the books that I have, I'm allowing one on audio because audiobooks really do help. I used to not like audiobooks because I always thought, like, how in the heck am I supposed to read a book and do, like, different tasks all the time and focus on the book? But it's actually pretty easy to do if you're somebody whose mind doesn't wander that much. Mine does sometimes, but an audiobook has actually been really, really helpful, especially for this month, and especially for me being sick. I kind of need an audiobook because it's so hard to look at words. So I'm allowing that for the month. And this month is going to be The Gates of the Alamo. Hopefully I get through it. Hopefully I know I'm going to enjoy it because, like I said, I was halfway through this book before I stopped reading it. So will we get through that month? And the next books I have, these kind of fall into many categories that I have of prompts. 1, these are popular series. 2, this is books that I've been wanting to read for a while. And then 3, these are a start of new series I have yet. And 4, they're romances. So the first one I have is Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I decided to just throw this into here because I have this complete series. So if I decide, like I said, I really don't binge read romances. But if I do decide to binge read it, I do have the whole series. I can binge read it then and there. But I just want to get into this series because I've heard so much about it. And I'm looking forward to the second book because I've heard so much about the couple in the second book. But, of course, I want to see how the first one goes. I want to see how her writing is. Because, like I said, I've heard so much about it. I've heard so much good things. I've heard some people don't like it. But I want my own opinions on it. And, like I said, it's very rare I don't like a book. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this. And the next one I have, the last book in my TBR, is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I have heard so much about it. This was actually one of the first, like, book talk books that I saw that I knew I wanted in my collection. So I ended up getting it. This one, I believe, is this Fake Date or is this Enemy Lovers? I don't know. I really don't know what this one is. I think this one's Fake Dating. Because the second one's American Convenience. I think this one's Fake Dating. I don't know. But we'll see how it ends up in the end. But like I said, this one has been one I've been wanting for a while. I do not have the complete series of this, though. So after I read this, hopefully I like it. And I can get the rest of the series. Even then, I'm probably going to buy the rest of the series no matter what. But that is going to be the last book on my TBR. And I decided to do true romances this month to ease me back into fantasy. Because I've been a sucker for romance. I bought so many romance novels over the first month. But yeah, that is my complete TBR for the month of September, and they are falling on me. Goodness gracious. Hopefully I can get through a good amount of these books for September. Like I said, a lot of these I have been wanting to read for so long and have yet to get through. And I am going to try to do that challenge this week. Hopefully I can do most of them. Will I finish them all? Probably not. But if I finish them all, that's a good accomplishment for me. The most books I've ever read in a month is like 8 books, so I feel like I can do it, but it just depends, because some of these are a little hefty, so we'll see how it is. And that is the end of this video, my guys. Let me know what your books you are looking to read for September, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.